Hi. Welcome back to Young and Excellent. It's been such a fantastic journey so far. Almost a year. Can you believe it? Almost a year of Young and Excellent already. And we're so thankful to the community for constantly showing up, constantly hitting that like button, constantly subscribing, and seeing all of the email blasts from the Sarnia Journal. Speaking of the Sarnia Journal, you should definitely subscribe to their email blasts because they are fantastic and they keep you in the know, and a community in the know is definitely amazing. So shout out to them. Thank you for sponsoring us, uplifting us, making sure that we're doing the thing, whatever that thing is. And yeah, we just love you guys. So thank you so much, Sarnia Journal. On today's episode, we have Alexa joining us. Alexa is one of my near and dear friends. I love her so much. We talk about theater, we talk about esthetician things, and before her, I didn't even know what esthetician meant. So, health and beauty, I guess. It's wonderful. And she talks about her journey loving her hair, loving herself, and of course, why she chose theater. And was she a shy kid? She was. Listen to find out. Show friend.
Hey,
I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
We've known each other for more than 10 years now.
Yes.
We would have met during Act 2 at Rebound.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I think it was because you didn't do Beauty and the Beast. You
did
Fame.
I did Fame was my first one here.
So we met in Fame, and then I pieced out and then went to production team, which is hilarious. So we only did one.
We did 2 shows together, one with Rebound and one with Theatre Sarnia.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've done other ones, but I just had this shock and awe moment that we only did one Act 2 show together.
One Act 2 show.
We only did one Act 2 show together.
Crazy.
That's wild because when I look back, I feel like you're such a big part of my theater experience. I do. I really do.
You too.
Yeah, that's so crazy. So wild.
Yeah, because you were in the first 3 original
First
Rebound
2.
shows.
I wasn't in Wizard of Oz, but I was in Beauty and the Beast and Fame.
Yeah, and then you also
wild.
helped out with Aladdin, right?
Yeah, I kept it going.
I see. The thing is, I remember helping out with Aladdin, but I don't exactly. I did a whole bunch of things. I remember you were
on board, and I would see you pop into production team meetings and stuff like that.
That's right. Yeah.
But then obviously we did Theatre Sarnia together too.
Yeah.
The Secret Garden with John, and then we just did the Wolves.
Oh my God. Honestly, yeah, we were even talking about the Wolves yesterday.
Yeah,
and it
beach
was
day.
and no, that was an amazing experience. That was probably one of my favorite Theatre Sarnia experiences I ever had.
Oh my God, for real. Same here. There's a really near dear spot in my heart. I feel like I have this lucky streak with Theatre Sarnia because I was a part of some of the most incredible productions, and I've just been in and out so much that I'm just I don't know how I was graced with all these opportunities to work with the best directors, the best stage managers, the best actors. Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. But that's a great question. How did you get started in theater?
Oh my goodness. It goes all the way back to when I was 10 years old. I remember, because the thing is, what a lot of people don't know about me is that I was actually a really shy kid growing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
I know, from I don't know, I want to say grade 1 to maybe grade 6, I would say. I was known as the shy kid. Oh no, she doesn't like talking or anything like that. Because it was just, I really can't say why it was like that. It's kind of a whole bunch of different factors.
That's
pretty
fair.
much. I was very intimidated as a kid by school and teachers and stuff like that. So I think the school life really didn't help a whole lot.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But then I remember I was watching, I used to love watching all kinds of movies and stuff when I was younger. So when I found out that those people get paid to do stuff like that, I was like, well, I want to do that too,
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my God, I love that it's a little kid dream.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I remember watching High School Musical when it premiered, and I was like, those kids are so cool, and those kids perform. I wanna try that.
I want to be that. I will be the next Troy Bolton.
And then I remember, you know how at the end of the school year when we got sent home with all those flyers and brochures for different summer programs?
Yeah.
So there was one that was a musical theater program, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then my mom was going through all the stuff, and she was like, hey, Alexia, did you see this for musical theater? I know you were thinking about getting into that. Do you want to do this? And I was like, sure. So then I did it. It was a 2-week theater camp. It was like they put on these little shows for little kids
That's
and stuff
how
like that.
I started too, so I get it. Yeah.
And so yeah, they did like singing, choreography, and performing, and then at the end of the week we would do the show for like the parents and stuff like that.
What was it called?
Triple Threat Theater.
Oh, I love Triple Threat.
I remember
never
that.
did Triple Threat, but I always loved like the productions from Triple Threat.
Yeah, they were cute. And then eventually I did another theater camp. I did Hidden Talents when I was a little bit older, which was a little bit, like it was still very like, I wouldn't say introductory, but like it was still kind of walking through the process, but it seemed bigger.
It's more elevated.
I think it's more elevated too, yes, because she even had like an audition process. I remember it's like, even though we're all going to be in the show, she wanted to do that so that way we can get used to an audition process, and then just so that way they can see who they wanted to be in the different roles.
Yeah,
and stuff
absolutely.
Like that. So that was a huge help. And then I got into community theater when I was in high school. For my very first production was in 2010, and ever since then I just kind of been going, you know.
Yeah, I always say that like theater's a drug.
Yes.
No, take that lightly, y'all. Take that lightly. But it's like, it's so addicting because I feel like I've gained such a community from theater, and I feel like that's what's actually like the addicting part of theater. It's not actually like the high of going on stage or the creation, the creativity. Like I feel like obviously that stuff's awesome.
Yes.
But I feel like it's that community hub where it's like, I never want to miss out on a moment of just looking around and seeing everyone filled with pride and just like knowing that I have a team. You know, like that's such a beautiful, beautiful feeling. And I think that's what's addicting.
Yeah, I think so too, to be honest, because like most of the time, like when I'm in a show or something, I'm like, oh, who do I get to work with? And like when the cast was released, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like I remember it took a bit for the Wolves cast list to get released. So
Oh my God, yeah.
I was like, I knew who I was. I knew I was in, but I was like, but who's everyone else? I need to know.
I was so scared to message you because I was like, I don't know who made it. I don't know who didn't make it.
Yeah.
And like, I was just like, I don't want to like offend anybody. And like, I wasn't sure how many people actually auditioned because there were some virtual auditions that came through.
So yeah, just in case, because they even said keep it on the down low.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, my lips were sealed, and then as soon as like, oh my gosh.
I wanted to message you, I remember, and like Kate too. I was like, did you guys get it?
Oh my God, yeah. And I loved that audition process.
That was honestly probably one of the funnest auditions I've ever been in.
It was the best. It was so interactive. It was so all over the place. I felt like whenever I do auditions, I always take the character like so high and so elevated. So it's really funny walking away and being 25, whereas I think I read for like number 14, so like Hope's role. And I remember like I had like glasses and I threw them off because she has contacts, and I like threw the oranges in the wrong place, and I just took it to a place that was like so elevated.
Yeah.
And like it was just so much fun because it felt like everybody received it well.
I think so too, and everybody started to work really well too during that audition. I remember I read for my role, and then I also read for number 13. I think I was 00 at one point, and then I read for number 25. So I was doing the high knees part. That was so fun.
Yeah, honestly. So for you, like I would love to get back into the Wolves conversation, but before we dive into that, because I'm so fascinated by that whole process that we went through, is that like, you said you were a shy kid and then you went into theater. Like, what was that transition like? Because if you were intimidated by like your teachers and like the system itself, like I can't even imagine what it's like to go into a theater summer camp.
It's hard to say. I definitely was still a little bit awkward, I remember. Like they didn't like put me into like a whole lot of roles, I remember, because I was still that shy kid, but I don't know, I just kind of did it, and I was like, you know, this is fun. But then it's funny because I was in grade 5 or like I was going into grade 6, I think, when I first did Triple Threat, and then I just remember after that, I don't know what it was, but then all of a sudden I became a chatty kid. Yeah. That's as best as I can describe it, because I was like, okay, first it's like, you know, without the theater, and then I did the theater, and then I don't know, something, maybe it was the class, but I just remember being super chatty afterwards, and everyone just kind of looked at me like, how are you not this quiet kid anymore? What happened?
Yeah,
you
so
know?
was there like a moment in the camp that like broke you open a little bit? Like something like a mentor said, or like something that like a friend said, or?
Honestly, it's hard to say.
It was those stage lights.
I think it was
they
just,
gotcha.
Yeah, I think so, probably. Oh, man.
That's
but
hilarious.
yeah, so that is how I got my start. And then, I just kept going with the community theater and everything. And it was always so much fun. And then I joined the Act 2 team. And that was honestly probably one of the most supportive
It's
theater
my favorite
groups.
experience, yeah.
Yes, one of my favorite theater experiences from when I was in my teens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Fame was good. There was a lot of people in that show.
There were so many people.
There was a
They
lot
had
of
a
people.
junior show on top of that. I was like,
Oh,
what?
I remember that. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Little tiny skit at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, it was a little bit, it was just a lot of people, I remember. But it was fun, though. It was still a really fun show.
Yeah, I had such a good time because I always remember because we were always sitting next to each other because we were like around the same height. And I just remember always, and I think I talked to you about this at the Wolves, like everything that stays in my head, like my number one Act 2 memory is just all the choreographers being like, everybody needs to be more like Alexa. Everybody watch Alexa, see how animated she is, and everybody has to dance. Like, I will never forget just because like, I feel like Fame was such like a wolves not wolves like as in like our experience, but like you were kind of fed to the wolves a little bit. Because it was all teenagers.
Yes.
There was some cliques going on.
Oh,
There was some drama. And that's very normal with young people and theater. Absolutely.
Yes.
But I just remember like at that point, like I think it was like me, you, and a few others didn't really find our clique yet.
No, we didn't.
And then when that moment happened, it's like I think that's what brought us together.
Yes.
Because I was like, oh, Alexa cares. Like Alexa wants to be here, and I like that because that's how I am.
You are, yeah.
And so I'm just like, I feel like that for me was such like a beautiful moment. That's why I don't think I've ever forgotten it.
Okay.
So shout out to those choreographers. I forget who choreographed it,
oh,
but
gosh, me too.
shout out to you.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah.
But yeah, and like I just feel like Act 2 is so different just because of that. Like there isn't somebody who like stands out from the rest. It's like everybody gets a moment.
They do, because I remember when I found out that we did Little Mermaid the next year, I was like, okay, I want a good role in this show. I want to stand out.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I remember this is so funny because I actually told this story not that long ago, but I was very set on getting Ursula, I remember.
Oh, yeah.
I put down Ursula, and then I also put down Ariel because I'm like, yeah, she's the lead. I'll put her down.
Yeah,
no problem.
why not? Yeah.
And so I did that, and then Chris calls me, and he's like, oh yeah, I want to offer you the role of Jetsam. And at first I was kind of like, oh.
Yeah, not what I wanted. Yeah.
But do I want to? So then I told him I had to think about that. And I know that's probably something that a director doesn't want to hear.
No, directors love hearing that. I love hearing that because I'm like, okay, you're serious. You're taking it seriously and you're going to actually consider it.
That's good. That's really good. So then I remember I did a whole bunch of I researched the Broadway production of Little Mermaid because I figured it was going to be similar because it was the junior version. And then I found out that Flotsam and Jetsam have actually a pretty big role in the show.
That's like one of my favorite roles in the show.
Yeah, and it looked so fun. They had the Sweet Child song, and then I was like, oh my God, I gotta call him back. So I called him back, and then he answers the phone, and I was like, hey, I'll do it. And he was like, yeah, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
I'll do it. It's absolutely my thing. Yeah. But I also feel like that's so normal, especially for young people who are doing theater. There's so many names we don't know. I didn't know what the eels' names were. I called them the evil eels. That's what I called them. So of course, if you hear on the phone, you're gonna be like, I had no idea what that is. And so I need to research this.
Yes, I knew who they were, but I was going off of who they were in the movie. They were very small in the movie.
They were very mute.
Yeah, very mute. But then when I saw they had, even when we got the scripts at the first read through, I was kind of like, oh wow, they actually have a lot of lines.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
I just still think it's so fascinating. Going from a shy kid and then doing one camp and then it's like a flipped switch.
It kind of was like a flip switch.
Yeah, I think that's such a beautiful testament to you though, because that's probably what you needed just to break you out of your shell.
I think so too.
Yeah. And then look at all the cool opportunities that have come after that.
I know.
And then you went to Fanshawe for theater.
I did. For about a year I did. And it was, I don't know. I don't know how to really explain it. It wasn't really for me. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it was for other people that maybe graduated as well. Maybe it helped them. I just was kind of I realized I like learning fast-paced. And the Fanshawe program, at the time, I did hear that it did switch to kind of a stage and film program now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. It was very slow. It was very slow. I wasn't really processing what they were trying to teach us. I can't even really tell you what I learned over there. It's I don't know, but
that's okay.
yeah. It wasn't a terrible experience though. It was a good experience, but it just wasn't for me really.
Yeah, and that's super fair. And I think anything with arts education post-secondary is very subjective.
Yeah.
I know the York Theatre program for me was oh my God, it was drinking God's nectar
That's
to
amazing.
me. But other people are no, it's one of the lowest end theater programs. There's some people that have these opinions.
They do have those opinions.
And it's well, for me it worked and I loved it and I loved my class. I loved the energy. I loved everything about it. But you switched up from theater to being an esthetician.
Yes.
So what brought on that change?
I had always wanted to work in the beauty industry, to be honest. At first, I was really into like makeup. That was like my thing for the longest time.
Yeah, because you do makeup with theater.
Yes,
too.
I do that. Yes, and then on top of that. Then I got into the program, I remember, and it was like they taught us, you know, like nails, skin, waxing, lashes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of like, this is a lot of stuff all at once, but I was liking it though. I really did like it. I excelled in it, and then I remember when we got to the end of the program, I was kind of like, okay, I personally would love to have a job before I graduate, so I was trying to make that like a personal goal kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then I applied to Sawmill Creek Spa. That was my very first spa job ever, and it was a great experience.
Yeah.
So then, you know, I graduated, and then I remember I was only doing 2 days a week, I think, over at Sawmill, and then I graduated, and then I got the full time, so then I was booked like crazy. So,
oh, that's so nice.
But yeah, nobody like, and it's some people are like, you know, not everyone in the esthetician program like tends to make it in a way.
It's a tough business to get yourself into. Yeah,
it's very
absolutely.
competitive, and you really have to be determined and stay in it. You have to bear a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because some people are like, you know, they get into, let's say, a business, and what if like everyone there is catty? Then that completely ruins it for them. They quit, and then they go do something else.
Yeah, you have to find that resiliency piece and find that passion. Because if you have the passion, then you can get through it.
Which I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So for a while, I like to work in the spa world. Like I went from Sawmill, I worked at a Dora Spa, like my last job.
Yeah.
And I was there for a while too, and I have a good client base. It taught me good like client relations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then but at that point, I really wanted to get into the med spa world. That was like my biggest thing.
So what's the difference between med spa and just like normal spa? Is that what you mean? Like
day spa is what I would call it. Yes.
Yeah.
So day spa is relaxations, relaxing facials, massages, nails, like manis and pedis and stuff like that.
That's
so,
the world I like.
Yeah, it's a good world. I love going to that world.
Yeah.
But to do it me full time, it was a lot, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it was kind of just like it was a lot of bending over, and it was a lot of massaging. It was getting really hard on my hands and stuff like that, which is what a lot of people experience in that industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then I remember there was I had like my Indeed search on, I remember, and I was like looking at my phone, and then all of a sudden, About Face medical esthetician popped up, and then right when I saw that, I was like, where's my resume? Where is it? I have to send it off, and then I sent it off. I think it probably took like 2 minutes or something like that. But and then so I'm really glad that I did that, because then that's where I ended up, and that's where I am now.
Oh, shout out Karen.
Oh yeah, absolutely, literally best boss ever.
Oh, I love About Face. Like again, like they helped me so much during like Rebound, like for like fundraisers and like donating.
Oh yeah, very
and, like,
giving.
And she's just always so like on top of it. Like so, like for me, like I always support About Face. This is not a commercial for About Face.
No.
If y'all are looking for a good place to go, About Face is great. But I love that you ended up there. So in the med spa, what does your day-to-day look like?
It's pretty busy as well. It's a lot of like mix of different, like sometimes I'll just be talking to someone in a consultation, or I'll be doing an actual treatment. And then those people, they go through a series of treatments, like depending on what their goals are. I try to meet their goals as best as I can. It's been going really well though, but let me tell you, the transition from day spa to med spa was like extremely...
I can only imagine.
It was insane, like the amount of stuff that I had to learn, and nobody prepares you for it.
Yeah.
Like they think like I don't know, I didn't want to go in saying it was easy, because it definitely wasn't, but I remember looking on their videos on their social media, and they would be doing like their laser, and I'm like, oh, that looks fun. Look at that little thing move across their face. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then I get in there, I get hired, I get doing it, and I was like, holy, it's like you gotta understand that science, you gotta understand the technique, the art to it. It's like, what is the focus of this specific treatment? And it was just, it was a lot. And there was days where I was kind of like, man, am I even gonna make it in this world? And, but you know, I kept reminding myself, this is what you wanna do. This is the reason why you got into aesthetics. You like working with skin, you wanna make people feel better. Like, don't go giving this up so easily. Like, it took time and patience for me to get this job.
Wow, I love that mindset. I love that, because I feel like a lot of times, like when things are tough, that means they're good. You know what I mean? Like when things are in that kind of like you're in the trenches zone, it's like, yes, it is hard, and sometimes you don't want to do it, and you like feel like quitting every single day. But if you just power through, once you get above, it's just like it's just clear skies.
Yes,
You know? And
exactly.
you feel so grounded and you feel proud. Like you feel a lot of pride.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Again, if you're going through an abusive situation with that's not what I mean.
No.
I mean like the good kind of trenches, like the normal life trenches, like when you get a new job and you have to adjust.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, good for you for adjusting, man.
Thanks, yeah. I feel like even sometimes there's still days where I'm like, like, you know, it's always, like, even though now I'm more comfortable doing what I'm doing, it's like, there's still those days, maybe there's that, maybe someone said something, or, you know, then it kind of gets me down a little bit, but again, same thing, just that mindset.
Well, because it seems like with day spa, like obviously that's relational as well, like you're building relationships, but with the med spa, it seems even more so. If you have consultations, then you have multiple treatments, like, so I get why there's almost more at stake when someone makes a comment or when someone says something. It's like, oh, like this is like for real, like this is, I'm doing something that's going to actually change your face or change your body shape or change like how you see yourself in the mirror. So it does, I get that, that's intense.
Yeah, and it's pretty vulnerable situation for those clients that I'm having now, because before it's like, oh yeah, let's do a pedicure and then we can have a nice chat or we can gossip or something, but now it's like, I can't do that. Like I've had some people talking during treatments and I'm just kind of like, I'm losing focus, I really shouldn't. So then I just kind of try to end it a little bit, but so
absolutely. So what would you say has been the biggest lesson switching over from day spa to med spa? Like what, besides obviously working through all of the fun stuff that you got to work through, but like what's been the biggest lesson for you?
That's I feel like there's been so many, you know, like definitely professionalism and customer service is key, because there's just been so many times that I've witnessed, you know, maybe the customer service wasn't there in a certain place, depending on what the situation was. And I just like to kind of, you know, make people feel welcome, make them feel comfortable. I don't want people thinking like, oh, she's just another catty person that works in a spa. So I'm like, no, like me and like my boss and his coworkers, we are nothing like that at all. We're very calm, chill environment pretty much. Like we're not judgy, don't judge anyone from what they did in their past, because some people, I get them and they're like, oh yeah, you know, I have these spots on my face because, you know, I laid out in the sun, and then they kind of feel better, or I smoked most of my life or something, and I'm like, you know what, like I try to tell people, don't regret the things that you did before. Because if you had fun doing them, then you shouldn't be regretting them. If you were having an amazing time out in the sun, then don't regret that.
110%. Like I'm gonna get a sunspot on my forehead, and I'm like, I don't even care. Like,
exactly.
I'm like, I would rather be tanning. I would rather be tanning. Maybe when I'm 50, talk to me then. But that's fine, because I can go to a about face, so it's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, we are here to help. So that's why I say, I'm like, just don't worry, we're here to help, and this stuff can be helped. Can't be like I always have to tell people, it can't be fully cured, but we will try to maintain it to make it look better. Yeah,
and that's something that I think is so prevalent in Sarnia, I find, because Sarnia, I feel like, is 40 years behind in a lot of ways. Like I always say to people, and everyone's like, I don't know about that, but the truth for me, just from going to Toronto to here, it's like, whoa, and even London to here. It's a world of difference.
It is a world of a difference.
And I feel like our parents' generation did not get the same kind of information that we're getting. We're able to access the internet. We're able to like look at like YouTube videos and tutorials on how to do makeup or how to take care of your skin or how to do anything. And I feel like there's an older generation of like, not just women, like men too, like anybody under the sun. There's an older generation of people that almost are regretful and shameful that they didn't have that information at their disposal. And that makes me so sad, because I'm like, you did the best with what you had.
Exactly.
And when you know better, you do better. But if you didn't know in the first place, then why are you going to beat your younger self up?
Exactly.
You know, like my mom talks about like tanning with like the like tinfoil, like that 80s trend, the tinfoil and like the baby oil and everything like that. And then and I'm just like, but that was something that was normal.
It was.
And why shame yourself for doing something?
Don't shame yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I love that approach.
Letting everyone know, don't shame yourself for something that you did when you were younger.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I've done so many things and I'm just like, oh my God, even at 27, I'm like, how am I going to live with this when I'm 40? But I'll work through it in therapy. But yeah, I love that. And I don't get to talk to very many estheticians. Like I think you're like the only one that I'm like kind of close with. So like I find it such a fascinating world, because like whether you like it or not, like you're gonna go see an esthetician at some point. Like whether it's to get your brows done or like some like sculpting treatment or like even a spa day, just getting a massage.
Yeah,
like,
no, those are lovely.
Yeah, like self-care is really important. And taking care of yourself is really
It's
important.
so important.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would be your biggest advice, like just a grand scheme for anybody who's like, oh, I would love to know like how I can better take care of myself to avoid future things? What would be your best advice to them?
I mean, I would just say try to make time for yourself, because that's a lot of what I see a lot of people when they come to see me. They're like, you know, I just don't have time to do anything for myself. So this is really, really nice.
Aww.
Yeah, so I'm just like, try to make time for yourself and kind of go one thing at a time. Okay, what do you want to improve first? Is it like your hair or skin, or maybe you want to get your nails done more? Start with that and then just kind of go from there. Like I know for me, I'm just going to open up a new topic. I was really self-conscious when I was younger about my hair because it was so curly.
Yeah, I love your hair.
Thank you. I have come a long way for sure in order to love it. So I was the only kid in my class growing up that had curly hair, dark curly hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because like even other girls, like most of it was like kind of slightly wavy or just like straight.
Yeah.
So I really stood out as a kid, or at least I thought I stood out as a kid. That's kind of how it felt when I was younger.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really know what to do back then. Like, it was hard because, you know, I was just told, brush your hair, it'll be fine. But,
oh my God. No.
Poof.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Completely. Just out for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. So then, I remember I had this one day where two of my cousins, like, straightened my hair, I remember, because we wanted to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, and I was like, you know what, let's try it. Let's see what it looks like. If we can make my hair look like that, then I thought it was going to be a miracle. But then they did it, and it looked so good.
Yeah.
And so I did it for, I think I straightened my hair for like 8 years.
I remember you always having straight hair when we were in high school.
Yeah, that was my thing. I always used to do it, but it took me like
all these memories like flood back. Yeah.
I know, but like, it took me like an hour to do though, and it was annoying. And it was especially annoying in the summertime because it won't always stay, and there's like kinks here, kinks there, it's all frizzy.
Absolutely.
So I was just kind of pain in the butt. And so then after a while, I was like, yeah, I like the way it looks, but I think it was by the time I was like 21 maybe or something like that. I was
that's
like,
a long time straightening your hair.
it was so damaged.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, I remember in college, I did a huge chop. I had the hairstyling students do it just next door.
Smart.
and then I remember the girl was like, so you actually want me to cut it? Like, how short? And I said, oh, you know, just up to here.
Yeah.
But my hair was like down to here.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, so she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yes, just do it. And then I remember that she did it. And then all her classmates were like, holy, look at that.
Yeah, did it just like sprout up? Like as soon as they cut it and it just like went like almost into a curl automatically?
I can't remember, but it was like up to here, I remember. But it's like I needed to get rid of that because it was all this damage. Like it was just horrible. I remember it felt like straw in some areas just from all the straightening over the years. And I was really bad at like, you know, maintaining trims when I was a teenager.
There's products that you're supposed to use when you straighten your hair too. That was never taught.
No. I just fried the crap out of it.
Yeah.
And I just remember I was like, what happened after that? So I chopped it and it felt like, you know, it was good. I still straightened it after though, because I liked the look of it shorter.
Yeah.
And so, and then when I turned 21, I remember I straightened it in the morning. It took me like an hour, and then I went to work, and then again, it was a frizzy mess with the kinks and everything. I'm like, you know what? I can't deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
How do I take care of my hair naturally? Because then I saw these girls who had naturally curly hair that looked so nice. And I was like, okay, like, what should I do about that?
Because, like, your hair doesn't need to be tamed.
No.
It just needs to be, like, well kept.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that Sarnia really needs to understand and work on with, like, different textures of hair and different hairstyles and different hair types.
Yes.
That I'm like, it's not about taming. Can we stop using that word?
Exactly.
It's about well kept and keeping your hair health.
Exactly. So I remember I looked up a whole bunch of videos, and they suggested certain products, so then I was buying that stuff, and then after a bit it started to like I was able to do it better, and my hair looked better, and it felt better, it was healthier. And then I didn't realize this, but then there was also a thing called a curly cut, and I was like, wait, I wanna, who does that in Sarnia?
A curly cut?
Yeah, it's like a specific technique that people do to cut curly hair.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so then I was like, who does that in Sarnia? So then I looked it up, and then I found somebody to do that. Jen from Fusion. She's
Jen
amazing.
from Fusion. Everybody with curly hair, go to Jen
Shout
from
out
Fusion.
to Jen.
Yeah.
Yes, she is amazing.
Aww.
Every time they come in, they're just like, oh yeah, you're one of Jen's clients, right? Because they see my hair, and I'm like, yep.
Yeah. Oh, I
she's
love
amazing,
that.
and she makes it
What
look,
a
it feels so
beautiful
good.
journey for you to fall back in love with your hair, though.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so important.
And this
it's
is
so important.
Yeah, and this is another thing. I'm also wearing my glasses. I never used to do
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna say, because you should always put your contacts in.
Yeah, and then same thing. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this wearing contacts all day, and then they
Yeah.
get blurry at the end of the day. And like with my job now, I have to be able to see everything on
Yeah.
somebody's face. If I'm wearing contacts, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And it just feels so much more comfortable with my eyes. So again, I've really kind of gone through a journey where I was like, I didn't like the way I looked before. Now I'm gonna change it, straighten my hair, and wear contacts. And then
Yeah.
I've looped around again, and now I'm just
Embracing
feel like myself.
you, your natural
Exactly.
beauty. I love you with glasses personally.
Thank
I
you.
love your curly hair.
Thank you.
I loved you with straight and contacts.
Oh
So
yeah,
you can
that
do
was a
whatever
good
you
look.
want.
That was a good look. Yes, good teenage look.
But I think it's such a beautiful thing because like now that we're like 27, going on 28, or you're
I'm 28.
Yeah,
going
you're
on
already
29.
28. I know. I'm going on to 28, and I feel like there's this beautiful cycle that does happen because I feel the exact same way as you, where I was like I used to hate the way I looked. I went through a journey of like kind of liking how I looked, but now I'm like back to where I kind of was in high school, and I'm like, man, I love the way I look now. And
Exactly.
it's just so interesting how like womanhood kind of brings that out in you a little bit if you're well nourished in it.
Yeah,
I feel like your
exactly.
mom is just such a lovely person
Oh,
that you probably get that nourishment from like not just yourself, from others as well.
Exactly, lots of people.
Yeah,
yes,
I feel like that's like a
yes.
huge thing.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I love that. Okay, so it's like almost run out of time.
Oh, really?
I
That went
know,
by.
I
Oh my god.
So before we wrap up, okay, I usually ask an ending question. Before my ending question, I would just love to touch on the Wolves for you.
Yeah.
And just ask you like how that experience was performing in the Wolves.
It was so uplifting.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I had been waiting for my moment to shine.
Yeah.
I know I've been in a lot of musicals with Theatre Sarnia. And don't get me wrong, they were all amazing and fun in their
Yeah.
own way. I had so much fun. But like the Wolves was like, that was like, I felt like it was my show.
Yeah.
You know? I just
Oh, yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was all of our shows, but
No,
for me,
no,
it's
I get
like
what you're saying,
Yeah, you
though.
get what I'm saying. Yeah, it just kind of felt like it was my show. This
Yeah.
was Alexa's show.
This was like my chance to break out.
Exactly.
I also felt like that in the
Yeah.
Wolves. Like as much as I've like, because I always do the plays because I'm not really a musical person. I love musicals, and maybe one day I'll
love
get on that stage and I'll
musicals. I
sing
wanna
my
get back
heart
into
out.
musicals.
Yeah, but I love acting more, and so for me, I also felt. I feel like all of us felt like it was our show.
Yes.
And I think that's what put so much heart and soul into it because
Yes.
we really did mimic real life.
We
Like,
did.
I felt like 25 when I was on
Me
that stage.
too.
Like
Me
I
too with
felt
number
like
11.
all of us were in that soccer team. I didn't feel like we were in our reality when we did that play.
Yeah.
And like Nick saw it every single show.
He did see it every single show.
And like I think he even says the same thing, that like something would happen as soon as those lights came on and like the first whistle blew and we all went on stage. Like it just, I don't know what that show was, and I have to say, like, I think it's Kate Hardy's magic.
Oh my
I think
God, she's
Kate
amazing.
is just magic, and I
love
think
Kate
she
so
creates
much.
magic. And I think that that show was the most healing experience I've had, like, ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really was. It healed a lot of stuff for me. And then even just people like, you know, that are typically in the musicals and like all the big people we all know and
Yeah.
love, where they're just like, oh my God, Alexa, you were amazing.
Yeah.
I had never seen you in such a big role. And I was like, thanks, guys. That's
Yeah.
really appreciate so
Well,
much.
yeah, because like these plays, especially when you like do something for women by women, it really lets us, you know, kind of step up, because
Exactly.
there is a little bit of a common trope in Theatre Sarnia where it's like, I wish I was a man.
Sometimes I'm like, oh man, I want to get back to the musicals. I wish I was a man so I can get into every single one.
I know. Besides, again, like the men who get in are just as talented and just as incredible.
yeah,
and just as they have to
absolutely.
fight tooth and nail too, but the pool is a little smaller.
It is a little smaller.
And so it was so nice to not have that trope in our play. It was just like, man, like we all deserve to be on this stage. We all have unique abilities and talents, and but yeah, and I'm just so thankful I got to do it with you, man.
Yeah, you
I just like, I love you, and I love our like friendship. You know, I really cherish it, and so being able to do that with you and seeing you shine was like a really like a huge thing for me. Yeah. Before we get into like teary-eyed stuff, let's finish up with our last question.
Sure.
If you could give any advice to the audience or our listeners right now, what would you give? What advice would you give?
Oh my goodness, that's a very
It's a
broad
big question.
question.
It's a big question.
Oh man, honestly, if you're really passionate about something, don't give up on it. Like, just be determined, you know, ride the wave, no matter what it is. Just don't give up on what's most important to you in your life.
Preach. Okay.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Because again, with my journey as esthetician, theater, I'm not giving up on any of that stuff.
No, and you shouldn't.
Very determined.
You shouldn't. Absolutely not. Well, thank you so much, Alexa. It's been so nice having you on.
Thanks. Thank you so much for having me.
I feel like I know you so much better now.
Yeah,
it's really
absolutely.
Nice.
That's so nice. I love this.
Oh, thank you. All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Boom, 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 boom. My brain is not working. What am I saying? Oh, yes, Young and Excellent. We're on that part. It's the first part.
That's the podcast.